And this will be the final word in the story of Skywalker.
So every project is different. So sometimes when, it's hard to answer it in a blanket way, but on The Rise of Skywalker, what was most important to us was to continue the story of the prior 8 chapters for this final 9th one, and also to make sure that the story felt as moving and meaningful and inevitable as possible. It's also a huge movie, so there's tons of adventure and action and comedy, but we also wanted it to be emotional and moving, and so it was about balancing those things. At the beginning? No. The Rise of Skywalker was made to be the final chapter of the story, so there was no sort of hidden new beginning. Like any ending that works, what I hope you feel is a sense of possibility, but that doesn't mean in any way that this was designed to be, and I have no idea if there are any plans to do anything beyond the story. It was exciting working with all the actors on these films. I mean, there really was no exception. Of course, it was hugely thrilling to work with Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill and Billy D. Williams, Harrison Ford, Anthony Daniels, Peter Mayhew in the first one. It's been incredible. On the other hand, working with these new, younger actors, especially Daisy Ridley, who hadn't really done anything like this at all before, it was an incredible thing to see her rise to the challenge, not just on The Force Awakens, but even more so on this film, Rise of Skywalker. She's remarkable and goes much deeper than you might expect. For me, it's hard to find a character that is sort of more fun than Han Solo, partly because it's Harrison, partly because his sense of humor, the sort of compromised position in which we meet him, his attitude, his swagger. There's just something about Han that, for me, was always my favorite. I think people are crazy about Star Wars because it's about hope. There's a big heart. There's a sense of inclusion of all types. It's like a story of the underdog. And I think Star Wars gives you a feeling of unlimited possibility, that you don't know what your life holds, and that even the most sort of ordinary among us can actually be extraordinary in the big picture, in a big, righteous fight. And there's just something about that I think fills you up and makes you feel better when you leave the theater than when you got there. I haven't watched a full movie in that, but I have seen. The fun of this movie for the 4DX format, I think, is that there are a number of incredibly, visceral, fun action sequences that I know would be like a sort of profound thrill ride sequence in that format. So I can imagine that for those people who like seeing films that way, there are quite a few sequences in this movie that I think would be augmented by it.
Let the final battle begin.
새로운 영웅을 확인하라. 스타워즈 라이즈 오브 스카이워커 1월 8일 아이맥스 대개봉.